Hey, Bible study teachers, thanks for teaching this weekend. Couple of teaching thoughts for you as you get ready for the lesson this weekend. This one is really talking about what kind of prayer is God looking for from us. And He's looking for people who pray out of faith. So it's interesting as they start the discussion time, and I encourage you to just get the groups kind of talking, especially by that first question. What's the most awe-inspiring sight that you've ever seen? Just get them, talking about that as a table for a little bit. And just where that's leading is just the awe-inspiring fact that we have the privilege to come before God in prayer, and what an awesome thing that is. That leads to the worship section. And then I think the main question of this lesson is the last part of the introduction section, where I would let them ponder with that question a little bit. What kind of prayer uh, is the kind of prayer that is pleasing to God? And I'd stop for a second and let the tables kind of talk about that. Get them. I wouldn't answer questions at that point. Just get them to ponder that question, so that that pump is kind of primed. Of this is the main thing we want to take away from this lesson. And you're going to circle back to that as a kind of a summary point to bring it all together. But get them thinking about that, and they can kind of jot down their opinions about that as a table, and then you can come back to it. As far as going through the questions, I think they're pretty self-explanatory, and you have the leader guide there. The main first section is God isn't really looking for the animal in the sacrifice; He's looking for the heart that brings the sacrifice to Him, and that's what's most important there. Um, and Psalm 141, that prayer, rise before me like incense, just that idea of coming before God to give Him honor and praise. That's the big issue. And the agree or disagree question really isn't about the location as much as it's, again, scanning the person's heart. So that first section is really talking about the issue wasn't the sacrifice, kind of coming back to what's the heart that brings it? What's the heart that's coming before God in prayer? Is that a heart giving Him praise and thanks? And then the next section talks about prayers as individuals or groups, and just having that practice of Jesus going to the Father in prayer. And if He needed to do that on a daily basis, how are we to think that we can't do that and we're just going to be fine? We need to spend some time talking to our Father in prayer too, which again is a confession of our heart saying, Father, I need you. And then the rest is just kind of talking about, again, is the group size matter? Is the group size, that is that the thing that makes Jesus show up in our presence? No, it's His promise that if we come before Him in faith as just a couple of people, um, He will be there with us. And the issue there is, are you praying to me in faith? Are you one in faith or not? So that last section, again, it's not about the size of the group. It's not about the location. It's about the heart that's coming before Him to ask. And then just I would go back to that summary spot and go back to that first that last question of the first introductory section. So what's the kind of prayer that God deems as something that He's excited about? And that's a prayer of faith, a prayer that somebody comes before Him in trust, in belief, with the confidence that God hears and can do what's being asked here, to give Him praise, to give Him thanks, to call on Him, to say, Lord, rescue me and save me. That's what He wants from us, to be our God, to be the one we call on in faith. So if you have any questions, drop me a line. Otherwise, blessings as you teach this lesson this week. God's going to be with you as you do it. Enjoy it. And blessings as you share God's promises with His people. Have a good weekend.